Hello and welcome to the Saratoga Podcast. This is Robin Dalton coming live from actually the Inn at Saratoga. I am not used to joining you all alone, but tonight I am alone. While my co-host Adam Israel is actually at Lake Avenue Elementary as a poll watcher tonight, because tonight we have a special episode of the Saratoga Podcast, which is all about the school board election results. We are going to be streaming all night long, bringing you the school board election results live as they come in. We have 5 candidates tonight running for 3 school board positions. The polls have just closed. Polls have been open all day. They have officially closed at 9 o'clock. So polls have closed just this moment at 9 o'clock. Votes are being tabulated and they will be run into the high school where they will be counted. And over the course of the next probably hour or so, we will know who our new school board candidates will be. We have coverage from around the district, and we'll be hearing from people about what's going on at the high school. We'll be hearing from people at the various polling places. But as of right now, polls have officially closed. So just to give a little recap of what's going on, we have polling places are all over the city, or beyond the city. We have polling places at every elementary school. So you've got polling places at Lake Avenue Elementary, Caroline Street, Division Street, Dorothy Nolan, Geyser Road, and Greenfield Elementary. Because the people who vote in our school board elections are not just within the city of Saratoga Springs, it's the Saratoga Springs City School District. So you get a much larger population that votes in the school board elections. And as we get the results that come in from each one of these elementary schools, we actually get a pretty good indication of who the candidates are going to be, which candidates are going to be successful and which aren't, based on trends that we've seen over the last couple of years and the turnout we see at each school that I will get into in a few moments. But most importantly, here are the candidates that are running this year. As I said, we have 5 candidates: Angela Amica, who is currently on the school board; Sharon Dominguez, who is running for the first time; Joseph Sabanos, who is also running for the first time; Tony Crackler, who's currently on the school board; and Beth FOGARTY BRAXTON, who is also running for the first time. So we have 2 incumbents and 3 new candidates running for school board. 3 of these folks, Anjanette, Tony, and Beth, all ran together as a team. They are running, as I said, as a team. They ran with the support of the Democratic Committee. I'm going to probably be referring them tonight as the Democratic team. They're a more left-leaning team. And then Sharon Dominguez and Joseph Sabanos also kind of teamed up together and ran together. And so we will see who prevails tonight. I have a few people joining me over at the Inn at Saratoga, but I will be bringing you the numbers as we get them, but those are our 5 candidates. So I also wanted to check in with Benjamin Glover. Benjamin is over. Benjamin, are you there?
Hi, Robin.
Hey, how are you? So Benjamin is over at the Saratoga Springs High School because that is where, once the polls are closed, there are poll workers who print out the numbers from each of the voting machines, and then they are run to the Saratoga Springs High School where they are counted. And that is where Benjamin is right now. Benjamin, can you tell us what's going on at the high school?
So I'm right here. I'm in the administration building on the 2nd floor here. The spreadsheet is up where they're tabulating the votes. They have a computer set up. There's only a couple people here so far. It's pretty empty, a pretty small room, so not a huge expected amount of turnout. But I'm, following the spreadsheet. As soon as we get results, which probably won't be until a little after the polls close because they have to physically move the ballots from the polling locations to here. So yes. We probably won't get results until 9:20, 9:30. They haven't posted yet.
I was just going to say, we have a bit of it, despite the fact that we have electronic polling machines and we have all this technology in 2023, we still have a bit of an antiquated system in that we physically have people running paper sheets from the polling places over to the high school. So there's a bit of a lag time in terms of getting the results, but they will be coming to the high school where they will officially be counted in that room. Is that correct?
Yep, they will be counted in this room to bear witness to the public. It's open to the public if anyone would like to attend. And I would like to note that none of the candidates have shown up here yet. So I don't know if they're in different headquarters or if they'll be showing up eventually. But it's me and a couple people here.
I will let you know if I spot anybody, and I will check back in with you in a few minutes, and let me know
Awesome.
if you start seeing any numbers come in, okay?
Great, we'll do. See you, Robin.
All right, we'll speak to you soon. Thank you, Benjamin. So I just wanted to talk about turnout for a minute, because the turnout in Saratoga in the school district has actually been really fascinating. Here are the numbers. Let me pull this out. Here are the numbers over the last couple of years. So this is really fascinating to look at, because the turnout really does affect, obviously, what the outcome is of these elections. In 2017, you see we had about 2,000 people who voted in our school board elections. In 2018, it went up a little bit to 2,800. And then in 2019, we had a huge increase to 6,000 people. And that can be explained through one simple issue. From 2018 to 2019, the issue of school safety monitors, and school resource officers came to the forefront and really became a very divisive and controversial issue in Saratoga. In between those years, the school safety officers in the Saratoga Springs high schools had previously been armed. They had carried weapons. They were not school resource officers in that they were not active duty police officers. Most of them were retired police officers, but they were not active duty, so they were not in uniform, but they were still allowed to carry weapons. In that year, the school board voted for them to no longer be able to carry weapons. That created a firestorm of controversy in Saratoga Springs, and a lot of debate and controversy when it came to that year's school board elections in terms of candidates who would support rearming school safety officers or supporting school resource officers. So you can see from 2018 to 2019, that almost tripling of school turnout, that really centered around this very contentious issue of school safety and arming school safety officers supporting school resource officers. And then you see in 2020, we have this massive turnout of 12,000 people. Well, that was because in 2020, we were all in the COVID lockdown. And so in 2020, they allowed for people to send in mail-in ballots. And I actually think it's really an incredible number to focus on, because if you allow people to send in a mail-in ballot, we have 12,000 members of our community voting in the school board election that year, which I think is really tremendous. And it begs the question, should we be using mail-in ballots more often? Because if it encourages that many people to vote, maybe that's not such a bad thing. And maybe we should be looking at mail-in ballots more often. Now, then in 2021, we went back to our traditional voting methods of having to go to the polling place, which is typically your elementary school. And so it dropped back down to just about 4,500 people. In 2022, we had just over 6,000. I expect tonight we'll be back around that 6,000 number, but we shall see. School safety and school resource officers are once again a very contentious and controversial issue this year. So we may see a higher turnout just based on that issue alone. I see two comments here. One from Dan DiFederici, my co-host, who says, "Dump Dan, keep Benjamin." Dan is at home right now with a sick child and can't be here with us, but he's usually my co-host. And Dan, I'm sorry, I'm keeping you, but I may keep Benjamin as well. Matthew Taylor also commented, Matthew Taylor, 2020 was when I ran all mail-in ballots. In my opinion, how it should be. Parents and people live busy lives. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Matthew. I mean, there's really something to be said for that. When you see 12,000 people participating in an election because they have the convenience of mailing in their ballot, I mean, I think there's really something to look at there. But so a really interesting trend, I think, in terms of turnout. And from 2017 to 2022, I mean, that's just a massive increase in our community. The other thing I think is quite interesting is that when you look at the individual schools, I'm going to put up our polling places again. When you look at the individual schools, the interesting thing that you can note here is that when I look at the winners who have won over the last couple of years, if you look at Dorothy Nolan, if you look at Geyser, if you look at Greenfield, typically the more right-leaning candidates, because this has turned into a very politically infused environment in terms of our school board elections. So when you look at the more right-leaning candidates and you look at the more left-leaning candidates, the more right-leaning candidates who have won, I'm looking at right now 2022. Dean Colligan won in 2022, who was considered a more right-leaning candidate. He won tremendously in Dorothy Nolan. He won big time in Geyser. He won big in Greenfield, but really he pulled in a significant amount of votes in Dorothy Nolan. And so he came in third that year and won a school board seat. Then you look at the two other winners that year, Natalia Latakia and John Brueggerman. they both won heavily in Caroline Street, Division Street, and at Lake Avenue. At Lake Avenue, they killed. They took the vast majority of votes at Lake Avenue. So when we see the, I'll put up the results from that year. Here we go. So those were the vote totals from last year. So when we're looking at the numbers that are coming in tonight, and we're looking at Dorothy Nolan, we're looking at Geyser Crest, we're looking at Lake Avenue, and we're seeing which candidates are getting how many votes, it's really going to be an easy and early indicator to see who may be coming in ahead and who may not succeed tonight. Those are our 2022 winners. I also wanted to point out that the people who have asterisks next to their name, and I'll go through the last couple of years of who won, are the people who received the teachers union endorsement. And more often than not, the winners of the school board elections are the people who have received the teachers union endorsement. So in 2022, you can see that John Brueggemann, Natalia Latakia, and Dean Colligan all received the teachers union endorsement, and they all won their school board election that year. In 2021, you can see Connie Wyatowicz, John Ellis, and then Amanda Ellithorpe won that year. 2 out of 3 of them all had this teachers union endorsement. And then I'm going to go back to 2019. I don't have 2020 up, but in 2019, John Brueggemann, Dean Colligan, and Natalia Latakia, they were the top 3 vote getters. They all also received the teachers union endorsement. So just again, when we're looking at the trends and we're looking at who are winning these elections, the teachers union endorsement obviously carries a lot of weight when voters are going to cast their ballots. We have another comment here from Matthew Taylor, who was a candidate in 2020. So I wanted to pull this up. Let's see what he has to say. This school board election has become extremely politicized as they have grown in past years. SROs are not the solution to gun violence. However, they do provide immense benefits to schools, parents, and students alike. We must have the focus on building more civic-focused curriculum and ensuring that we focus on unity over division. Our students deserve that, and our future requires it. Matthew Taylor. Matthew, I think that's a very astute observation, and those are sentiments that I think a lot of people could rally around. That is for sure. I know, again, that SROs, you know what? I see Benjamin here. I think Benjamin may have an update. Let's see. Benjamin, do you have an update?
Hi. No update yet, but I just wanted to let you know that there's still no candidates here, and we have a couple monitors we can see them on. We also have statistics for the bus bond and the budget vote, so we're going to get those at the same time as the candidate votes, presumably.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's the update from here. There's also observers from the BETH and Jeanette Tony ticket to monitor.
Okay. I am actually going to take a quick pause because I actually have a few numbers coming in here. So I'm going to put on a quick pause and then crunch a few numbers, and I'll be right back, folks. So just one moment. Okay, folks, I'm back. I'm getting some preliminary numbers in from Dorothy Nolan. Very preliminary. Adding them up right now as we speak, actually, and I'm going to be irritating and go back to that video again so I can do some quick addition, and then I will get back to you with the Dorothy Nolan numbers. Okay, I am back, and I have some numbers from Dorothy Nolan. So at Dorothy Nolan, it looks like Angela Amica has about 717 votes. Now, mind you, these are my tabulations. These are not official counts from the school board. These are my tabulations. So these could be adjusted, but these are what I am getting back. That Angela has 717 votes at Dorothy Nolan. Sharon Dominguez has 607. Joe Sabanos has 583. Tony Crackler has 751. And Beth Fogarty Braxton has 790. So that would make Beth the highest vote getter at Dorothy Nolan at 790. So just a little comparison here. Let's look back at last year. So interesting. So last year in 2022, the highest vote getter at Dorothy Nolan was Dean Colligan with 1,031 votes. The second highest vote getter at Dorothy Nolan was John Brueggerman with 809 votes. And then actually Billy McCain was with 835 votes. So it looks like there was potentially a lower voter turnout at Dorothy Nolan than there was last year. Or at least that's what my initial numbers are showing here. It looks like, yep, it looks like the voter turnout at Dorothy Nolan at least was a bit lower than it was last year. So that tells us that likely let's see, again, that puts Beth Fogarty Braxton, who is brand new. She's not one of the incumbents, as the highest vote getter at Dorothy Nolan, followed by Tony Crackler, followed by Angela Amica, followed by Sharon Dominguez, followed by Joe Sabanos. So that is just Dorothy Nolan. Those are the numbers I'm getting from Dorothy Nolan. We are waiting on the rest of the other 5 polling places to come in. I will bring you those numbers as we get them. But that is some interesting information coming in rather quickly. So we will see where that leads us. As I said, these are the turnout numbers. We went over that. The polling places we have left to go. So those are the Dorothy Nolan numbers that I just went over very briefly. We still have Lake Avenue, Caroline Street, Division Street, Geyser Road, and Greenfield Elementary to hear from. But I will say Dorothy Nolan is typically more of a stronghold for the slightly more right-leaning candidates, or that's what we've seen in the past. So that would be a little bit of a switch this year. from the numbers, at least that I'm getting reported into me at the moment. So that would be an interesting turn of events tonight for the Dorothy Nolan voting results. So we will see what we see from Geyser and Greenfield, which also do typically trend the same way as Dorothy Nolan, versus the inside city schools, Caroline Street, Division Street, and Lake Avenue, which tend to favor the more left-leaning candidates, or at least that's what we've seen historically. So again, we can go over some of the numbers of who has won in the past, and you can see how this has kind of been borne out. The 2022 winners, John Brueggemann, for example, he won at Lake Avenue with 647 votes, as compared to Dean Colligan, who also won that year, but only had 299 votes at Lake Avenue. So again, you can see the kind of trend in the polling places. Also, John Brueggemann had 717 votes at Division Street School, again, compared to Dean Colligan, who also won that year, had 407 votes at Division Street. Caroline Street School, John Brueggemann had 766 votes as compared to Dean Colligan, who had 684 votes at Caroline Street. So kind of just a way to look at the different trends at the schools and kind of what they indicate about who may be winning and which way the different school populations and the polling people, basically the people who vote at these polling places, how they kind of trend in their votes. So right now we have, let's see if we have any more numbers coming into us. At the moment, I am seeing currently they are counting some absentee ballots from Caroline Street. So I'm going to take another quick pause, see if I can crunch some more numbers and get back to you guys with more. Let me see if Benjamin, actually I'm going to check in with Benjamin before I leave to see if Benjamin has anything to report from the high school. Benjamin, do you have anything to report over there? Am I getting a jump on the Dorothy Nolan numbers?
You are getting a jump on the Dorothy Nolan numbers. We don't have anything yet, but we're still waiting for the numbers to come in. And apparently the Braxton name over by Dorothy Nolan is pretty legendary, so I'd like to add that to the equation when we're looking at the numbers from Dorothy Nolan.
That is actually very good to know, because her numbers at Dorothy Nolan are huge. So
yeah,
the
apparently
Dorothy Nolan,
it's a beloved name there.
So that makes a lot of sense. I know her, I believe her mother was a teacher. I don't know if her mother taught at Dorothy Nolan, but at Dorothy Nolan, BETH Fogarty Braxton, according to my tabulation, brought in 790 votes, which would make her the highest vote getter at Dorothy Nolan. Yeah, which is like a commanding lead at Dorothy Nolan. So those are what my numbers are showing so far. So that would make a lot of sense.
Awesome. Okay. I'll bring you back with some numbers as soon as I get them. All right. You get to tabulate those votes. All right.
All right.
See you then.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, I'm going to do a little addition. I will be right. Okay, folks, I am back with some more numbers for you. So I have numbers from Division Street right now. And again, These are not official. These are not from the school district. These are just my tabulations. I have from Division Street, Ann Jamaica having 410 votes, Sharon Dominguez with 326 votes, Joe Sabanos with 321 votes, Tony Crackler with 430 votes, and Beth Fogarty Braxton with 451 votes. So that puts Beth Fogarty Braxton right in the lead right now with 1,241 votes, according to my tabulation. So she would be the highest vote getter of the 2 polling places that I have voting results from, followed closely by Tony Crackler, and just behind Tony Crackler, Ann Jamaica. Now, this does not count write-in ballots or absentee ballots. These are just what the voting machines have tabulated as of today. So again, they are not official totals, but they can give us a general sense of where the candidates are going to land. So again, Division Street, Ann Jamaica, 410 votes, Sharon Dominguez, 326, Joe Sabanos, 321, Tony Crackler, 430, Beth Fogarty Braxton, 451. So as that compares, I'm just going to take a look at 2022 over at Division Street. So it looks like we have significantly lower turnout, to be honest with you, than we did last year, because I'm looking at the Division Street results from last year, and the 3 highest vote getters at Division Street last year had 717 votes, 689 votes, and 572 votes. So it looks like there's been significantly lower turnout this year. And Michelle Madigan says, yeah, you need a big board. Yes, no kidding, Michelle. You know what else I could use? Like 18 producers. This is a one-woman show over here. So maybe at some point as we continue down this road, I'll become like Wolf Blitzer with a smart board behind me. But right now it's a pen, paper, and an Excel sheet on the other side of my computer screen. At any rate, let's see. Matthew Taylor says low turnout may be a bad warning for the Democratic candidates. Right now, it looks like it's favoring the Democratic candidates, but we shall see. We shall see. Yes, significantly lower turnout at Division Street as compared to last year. Again, the highest vote getter at Division Street last year was John Brueggerman with 717 votes. The highest vote getter by my calculations right now at Division Street is Beth Fogarty Braxton with 451 votes. Again, though, I have just only got preliminary numbers from 2 polling places. That would be Division Street School and Dorothy Nolan. I still am waiting on Caroline Street School, Geyser Road, Greenfield, and Lake Avenue. So we have a lot more to come, many more numbers to come. But some interesting results so far, that is for sure. So let's see, what else do we have to look at here? We can look at our 2021 winners and see. We looked at these before. Connie White-Towich, John Ellis, teachers union endorsement. So actually, I wanted to put up our current candidates and go over who is currently endorsed by the teachers union now, which is Ann Jamaica, Tony Crackler, and Beth Fogarty Braxton, which also corresponds to who we're seeing right now getting the higher number of votes at Division Street and Dorothy Nolan. By my calculations, as of this moment, with 2 polling places reporting, we have Ann Jamaica with about just over 1,100 votes, Tony Crackler with about 1,200 votes, and Beth Fogarty Braxton with about 1,250 votes. So those would be the 3 teachers union endorsed candidates as the highest vote getters as of this moment, with just 2 polling places reporting. Sharon and Joseph both have just over 900 votes with 2 polling places reporting. So interesting, really interesting, especially with Beth Fogarty Braxton being with 2 incumbent candidates, but edging them both out in terms of vote totals right now. Very interesting and unexpected, I would say, for a new candidate versus 2 incumbent candidates. You would typically expect 2 incumbent candidates to be higher vote getters, but as of right now, with those two polling places reporting, Beth Fogarty Braxton seems to be in the lead. Again, though, it seems to me that as of this moment, we seem to have a slightly lower voter turnout than we have seen in years past. So let's see. I'm getting a few more numbers in. So I'm going to go. I wish I had a smartboard. I would love to be able to turn around right now and like point to a smartboard and touch it and have numbers just flash up. I do not have that luxury. So I'm going to take a quick pause, crunch some numbers, and I will be right back with you. Okay, I am back with numbers from Greenfield. The numbers from Greenfield that I have coming in are Ann Jamaica with 302 votes, Sharon Dominguez with 243 votes, Joe Sabanos with 236 votes, Tony Crackler with 327 votes, and Beth Fogarty Braxton with 333 votes. So again, these are just numbers that I'm getting in. These are not official numbers per the school district. These are just preliminary numbers that I am receiving. But these numbers put, again, Beth Fogarty Braxton firmly in the lead with 1,574 votes, with 3 polling places reporting so far, followed by Tony Crackler with 1,508 votes, followed by Ann Jamaica with 1,429 votes, Sharon Dominguez with 1,176 votes, and Joe Sabanos with 1,140 votes. Again, fairly low. Actually, that's about average turnout for Greenfield Elementary, but I'm just going to go over those vote totals one more time for you guys. Ann Jamaica had 302 votes at Greenfield, followed by Sharon Dominguez with 243 votes, Joe Sabanos with 236 votes, Tony Crackler with 327 votes, and Beth Fogarty Braxton with 333 votes. So Beth Fogarty Braxton has a pretty commanding lead at this point between the 5th place candidate and the 1st place candidate. We're looking at about a 400 vote difference. So I would say she is looking at a pretty strong chance of being a lock on being one of our new school board members. That is a prediction from you to me, just based on these 3 polling places and the lead that she is in right now. The 3 top candidates actually all have a fairly commanding lead at this point. So given the way that Lake Avenue votes, which typically is quite left-leaning and will likely favor the 3 highest vote getters so far already tonight, which would be Angela, Tony, and Beth. They will likely benefit strongly from Lake Avenue. They will probably benefit strongly from Caroline. And then Geyser typically goes a little bit more right-leaning, but it's looking right now like Angela, Tony, and Beth are in very, very good shape for this school board election. I'm going to see if Benjamin has any other updates. And my son, Charlie, stop commenting, sir. Charlie Dalton, you need to go to bed. Benjamin, do you have any updates for us?
Hi, Robin. Surprisingly, 25, 30, 35 minutes after the election, the polls closed rather, We still don't have any results here. We don't have any. Nobody's shown up here, but I definitely have to say that it is looking good for if I was in Beth's and Anjanette's and Tony's camp. Those are some pretty incredible numbers, especially considering,
Yes.
like you said, the schools that you mentioned have not been tabulated yet. Some of them more left leaning. I would be confident if I was them.
I would say so too. I would say I would be fairly shocked if if the order of the candidacies changes dramatically at this point, just based on the schools that we haven't heard from and how they've trended in the past. So at this point, as I've said, I have to say Beth Fogarty Braxton is a real surprise to me as a non-incumbent candidate. She is raking in the votes and currently is the highest vote getter at 1,574 votes, followed by Tony Crackler, who is an incumbent candidate with 1,508 votes, followed by Ann Jamika with 1,429 votes. So we have about 300 votes separating the third place vote getter from the fourth place and fifth place vote getter. So that's going to be
that's a pretty incredible gap.
It is. It's a pretty wide margin to overcome. There's still 3 more polling places that we have to hear from. And again, these are all the numbers that I'm getting. These are not official numbers from the Board of Education. So, we definitely want to wait for the Board of Education to give us their official numbers. But these are numbers that I'm getting from people who are at the polling places. So I can't imagine they're wildly inaccurate. They should be fairly accurate. And so I would say it is looking very good for the 3 Democratic candidates.
I also think an aspect of this, when we look at Beth and when we look at her candidacy, an aspect of this also might be that people don't like the incumbents. I mean, if you look at people I've talked to personally, anecdotally, about how they feel about this election, a lot of people are either just voting for Beth or voting for Beth and SABANOS and Sharon. So I think that if you combine that with the people who just vote Tony, Anjanette, and Beth, and people who just vote Sharon and Joe, then you kind of have this result where you have a lot of people who are voting for a lot of overlap when it comes to votes for Beth. And I think that is partial credit to her success so far in this election night.
I'm sorry, I just got the Lake Avenue numbers in.
Oh, yep,
So
no, totally.
Hold on one second. Okay, the Lake Avenue numbers that I've just received are 567 votes for Ann Jamika.
Yep.
178 votes for Sharon Dominguez, 165 votes for Joe Sabanos, 589 votes for Tony Crackler, 592 votes for Beth Fogarty Braxton. So that is typically that's basically, those were the numbers I was expecting to see from Lake Avenue Elementary. That is typically how that polling place votes. And so that is basically, in my estimation, going to be an insurmountable gap for Sharon and Joe to overcome. So what we're looking at right now is Beth Fogarty Braxton as our highest vote getter with 2,166 votes, followed by Tony Crackler with 2,097 votes, followed by Ann Jamika with 1,996 votes, followed by Sharon Dominguez with 1,354 votes, followed by Joe Sabanos with 1,305 votes. So we have nearly 600 votes separating the third and fourth place candidates. And so I think, to be honest with you, I feel pretty comfortable calling it for Ann Jamika, Tony Crackler, and Beth Fogarty Braxton.
Awesome. All right. Well, I will be here to give you the official results as soon as they roll in.
Yeah.
And I will pop up onto your screen as soon as that happens.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I'll be back.
All right. Bye-bye.
See you then.
So, folks, as I've just been saying, we have gotten results from Lake Avenue School. I'm going to do a quick pause and I will be right back because I want to do some quick math, but it's looking like we have a pretty clear indication of who our 3 winners are. I will be right back. Okay, I am back, and I am going to say that based on the numbers that I have right now, I'm projecting, and now I am not CNN, I am not the Board of Elections, I am not the Board of Education, but based on the numbers I am seeing right now, I'm going to project tonight's winners of the school board election as Angela Amica, Tony Crackler, and Beth Fogarty Braxton. That is based on the following numbers. Just one moment. They would be... One second. Where did my numbers go? We're waiting on 2 more polling places, but we had a significant lead by the top 3 candidates of over 600 votes. And of course, I've lost my spreadsheet now, but based on the numbers that we had in from Lake Avenue, Dorothy Nolan, Geyser Crest, or actually, I believe we were waiting on Geyser Crest, but we had Division Street and we were waiting on Caroline Street. But based on the numbers that we had in, we have these 3 candidates, Angela, Tony, and Beth, in the lead by over 600 votes, separating them from the 4th and 5th place candidates, Sharon Dominguez and Joe. And so those are our projected winners for tonight. That is my guess based on the numbers we're seeing. Oh, I think Benjamin has an update. Just a second. Benjamin, do you have an update for us?
Hi, Robin, here from the high school. Yeah, so we're getting results now. We have Geyser Crest here. So we get ready for this. We have 428 votes for Anjanette Emeka from Geyser Crest. We have 333 votes for Sharon Dominguez. We have 327 votes for Joseph Sabanos. We have 450 votes for Tony Crackler, and we have 469 votes for Beth Braxton.
Okay, I'm going to have you say that one more time.
Numbers. All right, here we go.
Okay, yeah.
420. Yeah, 428 for Geyser Crest for Anjanette Emeka.
Okay.
We have 333 votes for Sharon Dominguez.
Okay.
327 votes for Joseph Sabanos.
Okay.
We have 450 votes for Tony Crackler.
Okay.
And we have 469 votes for Beth Braxton.
Okay, so
these are numbers on the board right now.
Thank you. So now I have my helpful spreadsheet back. So this brings our vote totals to Beth Fogarty Braxton as our highest vote getter with 2,635 votes, followed by Tony Crackler with 2,500 votes, followed by Angela Amica with 2,424 votes. So again, I feel very confident in predicting that those will be our 3 new school board candidates.
Robin,
those will be our, yes.
Do you have Greenfield?
I do have Greenfield. I was waiting on Caroline. Caroline is the last polling place that I'm waiting on.
We don't have Caroline yet, but we have Greenfield and Geyser have come to the administration building. We do not have any other polling locations yet as of now.
Greenfield and Geyser I have up here. I now have the difference between the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place candidates versus the 4th and 5th place candidates is quite large. It's totally insurmountable based on just one polling place reporting, with Caroline Street not reporting. So again, I feel confident in saying that Angela Amica, Tony Crackler, and Beth Fogarty Braxton will be our 3 school board candidates. Congratulations to all 3. Tony Crackler and Angela Amica are the incumbent candidates. They will be back to serve another term. Beth Fogarty Braxton is a brand new. She will be serving her 1st term. So congratulations to Beth. Congratulations to all 3 candidates. I know this was a tough race for everybody, and I applaud everyone who ran. Sharon, Joe, Ange, Tony, Beth. This was, to step up and volunteer and to want to do this for your community is such an admirable thing. This is a thankless job. It's a hard job. You get so much grief, not just campaigning, but when you're serving on the school board. And so I just have to say congratulations to everyone who threw their hat in the ring. But these are some pretty definitive results that we're getting right now. And again,
Absolutely.
I feel very confident in this projected winners that we're putting out. It does, again, though, seem like based on, let's see, you just gave me the Geyser numbers. It does seem like we had a bit of like a slightly lower turnout than we've seen in the last couple of years, based on what I'm looking at. But
we just have. Sorry to interrupt you. We just got Caroline.
Yep. Oh, great! Give
Here
me
we
Caroline.
go. Ready? Oh, wait. It's
Yeah.
being updated like as I speak. Hold on. One moment.
Okay.
Okay, here it is. It's stabilized for a second. Oh, hold on. Okay, here it is. 672 for Anjanette Emeka. 672.
672.
Yep.
Okay.
450 for Sharon Dominguez.
Okay.
403 for Joe Sabanos.
Okay.
704 for Tony Crackler.
Okay.
721 for Beth Braxton. And I feel confident calling the election for Anjanette Emeka, Tony Crackler, and Beth Braxton after those numbers as well.
Yep. I do as well. So that puts I have all the polling places reporting in. Now, this again is not official from the Board of Education. These are the numbers that I had reporting in. This does not necessarily count write-in ballots or absentee. I have Beth Fogarty Braxton as our highest vote getter with 3,356 votes, followed by Tony Crackler with 2,051 votes, followed by Anjanette Emeka with 3,096 votes, followed by Sharon Dominguez with 2,137 votes, followed by Joe Sabanos with 2,035 votes. So I think those numbers say it all. Again, I think our projected winners stand as Anjanette, Tony, and Beth. Congratulations to all three candidates. And I think that pretty much wraps up our coverage for the evening. I'm not sure there's much else to say. I mean, those are...
Nope, there isn't. I appreciate you covering from the HQ, getting in all the numbers from all the the polling locations.
My pleasure. Adam Israel. Oh, guess who's here?
Oh, hey,
my buddy Adam Israel.
Bring Adam
Let's see.
in.
Hold on. I'm going to turn off my Bluetooth so he can talk on the speaker. Hold on one second. Okay, let's see.
Oh, he's
Ben,
there.
Can you hear us?
Oh, he's there. Hello.
How's it going, Ben?
Here.
Hi, I'm here from the administration building. Hi, Adam. How are you?
How's it going? I'm doing well. I've been better. It was the tough loss. The candidates did well. Congratulations to Anjanette, Tony, and Beth. They ran a great race. Saratoga picked them to lead our Board of Education. So I wish them all the best. I'm gonna dive right into this double scotch here. But anyway, guys, I think I was kind of...
Let the record show I stayed sober with water.
Yeah, I was sober for water.
I have water too.
It was it was fun covering this, wasn't it, Robin?
It was totally fun covering it.
So much fun.
Again, I just, Adam and I were both candidates. We know how tough it is to campaign. We know how much work it goes into it. We know that the sacrifices that the candidates' families make because of, the weekends, the hours they're putting into doing this. And so I just have to say hats off for everyone for all of the effort they put into all of their campaigns. And I just have respect for everybody who does this and who stands up and wants to give back to their community in this way. And so congratulations to all five for doing this. Congratulations to Anjanette, Tony, and Beth for their victories tonight. Thank you for all the Saratogians who came out and voted today. Of course, I have completely ignored the budget propositions. I'm like, budget? What budget?
We're getting budget.
Yeah, well, we're looking at about 77% yes right now, so I'm pretty sure it's pretty confident in the budget's victory.
My new political strategy is I'm going to just start supporting the people I want to lose.
Okay,
that's going to be my new campain from now on.
Adam's cursed.
I'm cursed.
I think we're going to get contact high off of his double cocktail. I'm not sure if that's going to be a winning strategy, but it'll be interesting to watch that play out.
Yeah.
It'll be entertaining.
Yeah, watch out, Democrats. If you need some help, I'm here for you.
God.
Anyway, all right, guys.
All right, we're going to sign off. Thank you, Adam.
Good night, Adam.
Benjamin, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. And
check out Toga Talks.
Yes, check out the Toga Talks podcast, and we will actually see you. Dan, Adam, and I will see you all tomorrow at noon for the City Council recap, which also happened tonight. Big night.
Yay!
Thank you, everybody.
Have fun. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.